is an Unspoiled Network podcast.
This is Unspoiled, covering The Dark Tower, Book 4, Wizard and Glass, Part 4, Chapter 4 and 5, The Glass and the Path of the Beam. In this episode, I was fucking right. I was right. Welcome to Unspoiled.
Feels good, doesn't it?
Feels so good. It does, like, it feels good, but also, like, I didn't want to be right. Like, this is terrible.
Right,
you know?
right.
Like,
I was right. Oh, shit.
I hate being right.
It's like when people are like, oh, God, I can't believe that Zack Snyder's directing the Justice League movie. God, I hope something happens to make that. Oh, not that.
Oh, right. I know.
Oh. Anyway.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, pop culture news, guys. Also, Roger Moore died. Going to be
Yeah, I heard about that.
watching a Bond movie tonight in his honor.
So, not to get things off the rail right off the bat, but for my bachelor party, we went out shooting in the desert, and I printed out a bunch of pictures of the administration. I probably shouldn't say this on the air.
Oh my
today,
God.
because I printed out pictures of like Trump and Pence and these people, and like we shot the shit out of them.
Okay.
And to be honest, I printed out a picture of Zack Snyder. I didn't know about any of the suicide crap.
Oh, no, Miles.
But dude, guess what? We didn't hit him.
Oh.
Nobody hit him.
It was divine intervention.
Yeah, they missed like every time.
Some angel was
Anyway.
like, you're going to feel really bad about this tomorrow. I'm putting a stop to this.
The next day that I found out. Feel free to cut all of this out, by the way, if you want to.
Oh my God. No, I'm totally keeping all
Your
this
call.
in.
Damn it. Fuck.
Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm Natasha.
I'm Miles, and we also have Michael Bay.
You have to include Michael Bay if you're
You
going
have
have
to.
yeah, if you're going to have anybody, it's got to be Michael Bay. I can't believe that there's another one coming out, man. Another Transformers movie. What? I can't believe
I walked
it.
out of the first one. It's the only movie that I've ever walked out of the theater.
You kind of have to walk out because it never actually ends. So that's just going to happen because it's 4 fucking hours long. Like, it's an opera. He thinks he's Wagner. I don't know.
So Natasha has never read these books.
I have not read these books. This is my first time through. It's actually been kind of fun because a friend of mine just went on vacation and started to read the series, and he's a really fast reader, and he's already on the Wastelands.
Nice.
And he's been posting like his feelings on things. And he posted about feeling like the Detta thing was really offensive and had not aged well. And it was funny because like, it didn't even occur to me to feel that way, even though like, I feel like I should have thought of it being really, offensive, but I just don't see it that way, as we discussed in depth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and there were a lot of people in the comments who were like agreeing with him, and I chimed in with my like, feelings and theory on it. And I actually got a lot of likes on my comment and a pretty good discussion out of it from people who were like, oh, that's interesting.
That's cool.
But it was kind of funny to see him just be like, oof, Detta, huh? And that's all he said as for his whole status. Mm-hmm. And everybody was like, yeah, I know, buddy. It'll get better.
I have read these books. Well, before we started this podcast, I had read the first 4 books a couple of times. Mm-hmm. And had never moved on. Not really because I didn't want to, because I've owned the 5th book for a long time, but because just didn't. And honestly, the extended flashback kind of made me go meh. Mm-hmm. But I have at long last I have finished the 5th book. Took me fucking forever. And I can happily report that I have also finished the 6th book now.
Hey, look at you!
Because I flew through that one because that book was the shit.
I love it.
Anyway.
Yeah,
so
I'm very excited that you have like picked it's picked up for you.
Yeah.
Because that is it's important, I think, for the spoiled person to be further ahead. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
these books they're so bananas and change so dramatically that I'm not sure it really matters like nowish or earlier than nowish, because of a lot of this story seems to have like been self-contained is the total wrong word, but there hasn't been a whole lot of like really foreshadowing past this point that I have noticed anyway. So I'm feeling like maybe that will be something that we'll see a little bit more later. But anyway, sorry guys.
Last book is fucking massive, so anyway.
Yeah, I'm like seeing that when I go and pick up, like I've been trying to find every copy, I find everything but the copy that I'm looking for. But yeah, when I've been going to Half Price Books, the last 2 books are almost always around, and they're just stupid big, and I just like laugh at them a little bit. Like I really enjoy having paper copies to do the podcast, but in these cases I may just have to do the Kindle versions.
The 6th one isn't that long.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. I
thought it was. Really? Huh, okay.
Unless I got like half the book or something. I hope that didn't happen.
I'm debating whether or not I want to like invest in a Kindle for the show, because part of me loves to have the paper thing. And I know that you can read from your phone, but I find it difficult to focus when I'm getting notifications and stuff while I'm looking at the screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just hard for me to not flip to Facebook or go to my email or, answer a text right away. And so I've been thinking about it, and I think that might be something that I wind up doing. Maybe.
I love the Kindle app, for the record.
The app is amazing. Like, yeah. It's just the actual phone. If I had like an iPad that I could read off of that was, I could just not put any of the personal apps onto it and just have it but Owen has laid claim to the iPad for comic book reading, and he pretty much always has it with him for work and stuff when he's on breaks. So
of course he has.
Yep. It's kind of awesome though, because he's spending a lot less money on comic books, so he likes that.
Sure. Yeah. Comicsology is a beautiful thing.
Anyway, guys, so yeah, the books, we should talk about them.
Those.
So chapter 4, The Glass, I had like forgotten that the last chapter ended with them all looking into it. And so when this started off, I was like, the fuck is happening? I completely forgot. My bad. And they are standing inside a like version of his world that's like got a bunch of like pink fog, for lack of a better way to say it.
Yeah, it's a pink misty world.
Yeah. And the air of this corridor is faintly pink, and small pink halos revolve around the funny old-fashioned light bulbs that illuminate the corridor. Something is going to happen. Some story is going to play out in front of their eyes. And now, as if the very thought had summoned them, the boy hears the click of approaching footfalls. It's a story I know, Jake thinks, one I've been told before. So, yeah, this is interesting because they're watching it. They cannot affect anything. And apparently being in this, Roland isn't with them. Roland's only there as his old self.
But he's wearing the red boots, right?
Yeah, right? So it's like, it's almost like he's being forced to play it all out again.
I was going to say, I think that's what happened, because his reaction when they came out of it, like when he like breaks down sobbing, I think that, I mean, you don't think many things would make Roland do that. I feel like he was forced to play it out again.
Man, that's messed up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Roland. I'm sorry, buddy.
So I the first few times I read this, definitely the first time, because I read this part very carefully earlier today.
Okay.
And I actually understand what happened way better than I used to. I think it was that because I never really fully got what happened.
Okay, I'm really glad
Like,
you say
with
that
him-
because I reread it twice and I was like, I'm gonna have to ask Miles to clarify this because I
Okay.
don't think I got it. Okay, go ahead, tell me.
Okay, so what happens is, Roland walks into the room. I hope we're talking about the same thing. We're talking about him shooting his mom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So he walks into the room, and the guys all see, like Eddie and Jake and Susanna all see that behind a curtain there's a woman's boots in the hem of a dress.
Mm-hmm.
Woman hiding there. He's looking for his mom. He walks into her bedroom. He sees the ball,
Mm-hmm.
which is not supposed to be there, and it apparently like senses him and lights up.
Okay.
So his mom was coming up behind him. I mean, why she thought this was a good idea, they go into it a little bit, like later on, when he was like, I suspected she just needed the minute to gather herself because she was ashamed.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel like maybe she was like, if she's anything like my mom, then she thought it would be a great idea to like hide and jump out and be like, surprise, I got you a belt.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, even if that's not the case, it doesn't really seem like her style. But the point is that Roland was turned away from her and turned toward a mirror. The ball lights up and the light hits the mirror. Roland sees the mirror and sees Rhea behind him with a snake.
Right. So it's the ball that lies to him again. This
Yeah,
fucking ball,
via
man.
the mirror. So, because I remember when I was confused, it was like, wait, was Rhea actually behind him? Was she nearby and cast a spell to make his mom look like herself or something? Like, I really didn't get it.
Right.
And in subsequent rereads, you kind of, I think the first time I was like, I wanted the book to be over. Like, I was ready to be, I was ready to be done. So I was kind of like skimming a little bit. And subsequent times you read it, you kind of feel like you already know a scene and you don't really revisit that much, like, what is actually happening. But I remember that always confused me. And I read that passage because it says, the mirror, like the ball had lied to him the only way it could via reflection.
Okay. Yeah, that makes because I read that line and I was like, okay, gotcha.
So he shoots his mom. He spins around, shoots what he thinks is Rhea, and it's actually his mother, who has a belt for him that she made as possibly a let's make up and be friends, my son, a gift.
Yeah, weird.
Which is pretty fucking terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Not the gift. Like, it's fine. Belts are nice, but the fact that she's dead.
Yeah,
like,
because like
you didn't have an iPhone or anything. Like, come on.
This I really thought was going to be the moment that we see Rhea again. Like, I figured, that was he said before. Well, she followed me back, and I thought this was the moment that we were actually going to like have the confrontation and that I was wrong, that it wasn't his mom. Although it seems like even if it had been Rhea, he already knew that it was his mom because the ball told him so, right? That she was the one who was given the knife?
Yes, the ball definitely told him that. Jake is like, during this whole thing, Jake is kind of really on lock here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he knows he can see that in like Roland's head that or something that the ball showed him, like what the ball showed his mom doing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So and then after this happens and he's standing there staring at his mother's body and he's like a few feet away from her, like he can't bear to go near her. The trio that's watching, Jake turns and looks at the ball and Rhea's face is in it, looking right at him. And
yeah,
she says to him, Or I can't tell if the others see her. Do they see her? Do you know?
Oh yeah, they totally do.
Okay. Oh, that's right, because Susanna says something to her. Right.
And
okay.
Eddie does too.
Cry it off, she croaks. Cry it off. Renounce the tower. Never, you bitch, Eddie says. You see what he is, what a monster he is, and this is only the beginning of it, you can. Ask him what happened to Cuthbert, to Elaine. Elaine's touch, clever as 'twas, saved him not in the end, so it didn't. Ask him what happened to Jamie de Curry. He never had a friend he didn't kill. Never had a lover who's not dust in the wind. Go your way, Susanna says, and leave us to ours. Rhea's green, cracked lips twist in a horrible sneer. He's killed his own mother. What will he do to you, you stupid brown-skinned bitch? He didn't kill her, Jake said. You killed her. Now go. Jake takes a step toward the ball, meaning to pick it up and dash it to the floor, and he can do that, he realizes, for the ball is real. It's the one thing... Shit. Right? It's the one thing in this vision that is. But before he can put his hands to it, it flashes a soundless explosion of pink light. Jake throws his hands up in front of his face to keep from being blinded, and then he is melting. I'm melting. What a world. Oh, what a world. Falling. He's being whirled down through the pink storm out of Oz and back to Kansas, out of Oz and back to Kansas, out of Oz and back to... It's a pretty fun line.
Yeah.
I kind of liked it, I'm not going to lie. What a world.
The Oz references.
Right.
Roland, I guess he never... The girl he slept with in Tull is dead.
Yeah. He shot her.
Right. Though there's the demon. He had sex with that demon in the gunslinger. Maybe the demon's dead.
The demon seems like it's dust in the wind, like by definition.
True. True.
Whoops.
Anyway.
So that's the first chapter, and then they all wake up and they are dazed, and they wake up in the grass 30 miles away from the fucking green glass city.
Yeah. And
How...
Eddie's supposition is that they sleepwalked.
I mean...
Which is like, really?
Right.
Yes?
I mean, sure. No. Like, I just... No, that's not what happened. I don't know what happened. Don't get me wrong. I don't have a theory, really, on this. But that's not it. I know that.
Yeah. They're not in the weird Kansas world anymore, right?
Yes. They're not in Kansas anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Jake said. Eddie looked at him sharply, but didn't believe the kid was consciously riffing on the Wizard of Oz.
Are you making a joke, or what are you doing here?
Jake hoisted a thumb towards the sky, and when Eddie looked up, he saw that he had been wrong. It wasn't all still white, overcast, boring as a basket of sheets. Directly above their heads, a band of clouds was moiling toward the horizon as steadily as a conveyor belt. They were back on the path of the beam. Moiling. I'm looking this up.
Boring as a basket of sheets. That basically describes.
Moil means to move around in confusion or agitation. Yo, how have I not heard this fucking word before? This is a great word. Anyway.
I don't know what happened. I was just saying that moiling sounds like a Yiddish word.
It does,
like
right?
Like my family would be like, and I was moiling toward the door over there, and then it just happened. I don't know what.
But isn't the moil the guy who does the circumcision?
Yes.
You don't want to be moiling towards the door. That's just not a good idea.
Cutting off penises towards the door.
The door was shaking in his shoes. No, stay back.
Actually, the moil isn't the guy who actually does the cutting. I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't,
is it not?
I'm a horrible Jew. Let's move on. I don't know what moil does.
Miles the Horrible Jew. God, that's a really good name for something.
Oh man, that should be my next podcast.
That would be a really good children's book to teach kids about being a good Jew. They would have Miles the Horrible Jew. Don't be like Miles. And they'd use you as a cautionary tale. It'd be a series of unfortunate events, but
I would be famous.
That would be fucking great. I kind of want to write this now, except I don't know anything about Jewish traditions. So I'm
Yeah,
pretty much useless.
I was writing a piece for the Universe of the Mind website the other day, and I accidentally wrote the phrase "objective perspective," and I was like, "Wow, that's a great name for something. That has to be the name for like 10 million things," and it's not.
It's not? I love
Like,
when that
nobody
happens.
is using that. Everybody who's listening to this, shut up. Shh. I'm gonna do something with it.
That's something that they do on the Flophouse a lot, is they'll come up with names for stuff and then they search for it and they'll immediately buy the domain if it's not a thing. So now there's a bunch of like weird websites that it's not really a full site, but it's just one of them bought the web domain for underwatersex.com. And it's just like some weird stock photo of like a beach, and it just says underwater sex. Anyone tried it? ? And that's the whole site, and that's it. I hear that somebody else like took it over after that, but it was like that for like 2 years.
Oh my god, the Flophouse is brilliant.
I love the Flophouse. Like they're not always a hit.
No,
The misses are still pretty fun, so.
yeah, they're funny enough that it's okay.
Anyway. So then Eddie's noticing that all their shoes just look weirdly dead. Like
they're all muddy and trashy, like they've been walking for like years.
Well, he says like the color, all the same ruby red, but a lifeless red somehow, as if some magic essential to them had been used up. Suddenly, Eddie wanted them off his feet. So he sits down and starts taking his boots off, and Susanna's like, "Oh, good idea." And she takes the little caps off of her leg
cappies.
stumps. Yeah. And poor Roland, she starts to say, "Were we there? Eddie, were we really there when I killed my mother?" Roland said, "Yes, you were, as I was. God's help me, I was there. I did it." He covered his face with his hands and began to voice a series of harsh sobs.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm saying
Roland.
he had to do it again.
Poor guy. And Susanna goes over to him and like holds him, and at first he tries to push her away, and she's like, "Listen," but makes him just,
accept it.
Yes. And Eddie says, "You didn't kill her. That's too easy." The gunslinger's face was still against Susanna's shoulder, but his words were clear enough. "Some responsibilities can't be shirked. Some sins can't be shirked. Yes, Rhea was there, in a way at least, but I can't shift it all to the coup as much as I might like to." "It wasn't her either," Eddie said. "That's not what I mean." Roland raised his head. "What in hell's name are you talking about?" "Ka," Eddie said. "Ka, like a wind." I thought he was going to say the fucking ball. Like, the ball.
It's the ball's fault, yeah.
Why didn't he mention that? I thought that was kind of weird. Because I don't buy that Rhea can just make the ball show him a thing. Like, Rhea doesn't control that thing. Nobody controls that thing.
I feel like Eddie's trying to just, like, say it in a way that Roland will hear.
Maybe?
You know what I mean? Like, it's not your fault the stupid ball did it to you. Roland would have had an answer for that.
Mm-hmm.
But, Eddie's like, "Look, dude, this was fucking, like, this was gonna happen. This was gonna happen regardless of your decision-making.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you would have been made to do this."
Okay.
So, so Ka, sure. I mean, that's what it means, basically, right? Like, things that happen outside of your purview of choices.
Ka, basically, when somebody says Ka, they're just like, fucking whatever.
Yeah.
That's but with more meaning behind it. Just like, who knows?
Right, but like Roland, has strong feelings about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, Eddie's just kind of. I think Eddie's trying to absolve him in the only way he thinks might work.
Okay, I see that. So in their packs was food none of them had put there. Cookies with Keebler elves on the packages. Saran-wrapped sandwiches that looked like the kind you could get, if you were desperate, that was, from turnpike vending machines, and a brand of cola neither Eddie, Susanna, nor Jake knew. It tasted like Coke and came in a red and white can, but the brand was Nozzla.
which is a weird, like, who crowdsourced that?
Right?
Like, some marketing exec doesn't have a job anymore.
Nas just sounds too much like schnoz.
Well, the whole thing sounds like nausea.
Yeah, you're right. I didn't think of that. I was thinking like schnoz cola. Like it was just a big can of fucking snot, basically. But yeah, nausea. That's true. Maybe that's what it was from. Maybe it was meant to settle your stomach, and then it became a cola.
That's weird. Kind of like Coke was supposed to make you high first.
It was supposed to. It fucking did, buddy.
Yeah. Still does for some people.
Yeah, right here.
Yep.
I'm not like I don't keep Coke in the house. Sometimes Owen will buy it for me, but when I have it and it's like from a fountain, oh man, you don't really come close to Coke. I like Coke Zero the best, but
I'm just gonna play that clip out of context. Be like, I don't keep Coke in the house, but when you run into like a fountain of it, it's just awesome.
You know, at like weddings, and they have this in the background. Chocolate fountain, whatever.
Just like cocaine, like a fountain that spews like white powder.
Oh my god.
Get you in trouble. I can't do that because then you'll talk about me shooting the president. So you know.
Right? Yeah, we're both of us just like really incriminating ourselves this episode.
I got him right between the eyes. It was my only good shot of the day.
You sounded real creepy right there, man.
Sorry.
Have you seen Trick or Treat?
No.
Oh, Miles, why have you not seen anything? For fuck's sake, I can't talk to you. Okay. Watch Trick or Treat. Jesus. It's like an amazing Halloween horror movie. It's one of my favorites. Like I'm not that into horror movies, but it's super well done. And it was meant to be released in theaters and it got bumped for some reason that was like really petty, if I remember right. I don't remember the details of it, but it's got a really big cast and it wound up becoming this like cult hit once it was actually like finally released. And it is beautifully filmed. And there is a kid at one point who has like, he's like, don't forget to help me with the eyes. And he's talking, it sounds like he's talking about carving a pumpkin, but it's not, it's somebody's face.
Okay.
So that was the way that you said that. I got him between the eyes. It sounded like that fucking creepy kid.
First of all, again, Star Wars, your date of viewing. No further questions. Second of all, can I watch Get Out first? Because I still haven't seen that, and I really need to see that movie first.
Yeah, I would really say save Trick or Treat for Halloween time because it's so saturated in gorgeous Halloween imagery that it won't really be the same at other times of year.
Because I can buy Get Out on my Apple TV now, and
it's so good.
And like I've been so tempted because Sharon didn't want to see it in theaters because she likes she's fine with horror movies, but she doesn't like seeing them in theaters. She likes like being curled up on the couch with a blanket.
Yo, I feel
which
her on
I totally get.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so she didn't want to see it in theaters, and it was in theaters fucking forever.
Yeah, the only reason I saw it in theaters was because I was afraid I was going to get. I had been a little spoiled already, and I was afraid if I waited any longer that the whole thing would be blown for me. Otherwise, I would have done the same thing like she did because I don't like to see him in theaters either.
Yeah. So Nozzla.
I'm so excited though. You really need to watch that and tell me what you think.
I will absolutely tell you. Yeah.
So, okay, when I'm traveling through the land of Oz in my new Takuro spirit, I drink Nozzla. It fills me up, but never fills me out. It makes me happy to be a man. It makes me know God. It gives me the outlook of an angel and the balls of a tiger. When I drink Nozzla, I say, gosh, ain't I glad to be alive? I say, sit down, you bum hug. I love Oi constantly agreeing with everything. Oi, you just give me such a fuzzy little feeling in my heart. I love you so. I love you so, Oi.
And then Eddie finds a piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the blah blah yak yak newspaper, which is blank on one side because it was only a fucking prop. as he puts it.
It's so weird.
Except for there's a message that says, "Next time I won't leave. Renounce the tower. This is your last warning. And have a great day. RF."
Smiley face on each side.
Yeah.
Smiley face on each side. I don't even do that. That's excessive. Sir, you're being a creep. Next time I won't leave. What do you mean you won't leave? You didn't leave. You got scared the fuck out of there by a gunshot. You fucking don't try and frame it like, oh, I allowed you to shut up. Whatever.
Yeah, dude sounds like he just got like impeached from office.
Right?
Like, next time when I come back, I won't willingly give up my seat.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, pretty clearly from Flag, who, if you don't know who this character is in the stand, Natasha, let me just explain it to you real quick.
1,000 voices cried out in terror, and then were silenced. Oh man, everybody got so mad at you.
Oh, it's so funny.
Like, guys, don't worry. I just barely remember what he said. Like, I don't even think I could repeat it back. I'm really good at, once I realize that something might have been a spoiler, I can sort of make my mind go fuzzy around it until it, like, evaporates.
I didn't remember. Like, when there was the mini uproar on Facebook, I was like, what the fuck did I say? Did I spoil? I don't even know what happened. I have no short-term memory. I'm going insane. There's also a little drawing of a cloud with a lightning bolt coming down out of it.
It's classic. I really want to know if King did these himself.
Probably not. I imagine he has people for that sort of thing.
Well, in his manuscript, he just scribbles a little thing. Just, and he hands it to his editor and he's like that. And then it's just like, fucking fine. Why hire somebody? You did it already. It's just use that one.
Makes sense. That does make sense.
So at this point, Roland is just like, yeah, so I am reconsidering whether or not you guys should come with me because I didn't give a shit about any of you, or at least was divorced enough from my emotions concerning you that if you got hurt, that'd be fine. That would be an acceptable consequence. But now I have somehow, going into this memory, it has released something in me. And I can love again, which means that I can lose all of you again. And I'm not sure I want to do that. And if you want to leave, you should. Which is really sweet and sad.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, Susanna says, Roland, you can't talk about that, then turn around and take it back again, just because you get a little low on willpower and dedication. Mm-hmm. And Roland says, willpower and dedication are good words. There's a bad one, though, that means the same thing. That one is obsession.
By Calvin Klein.
Why is that so funny?
You just picture Roland posing with his guns out next to a bottle of cologne. This really fucking emo look on his face. I like it.
Oh. Anyway. So,
I totally lost you. I'm sorry. I totally derailed you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Anyway, Eddie basically says, like, even if we could go back, which we can't, we wouldn't.
Yep.
And everybody's like, yeah, basically.
Yeah, I mean, like, how do you go from this back to the fucking prep school? Back to, like, oh, no, absolutely not.
Why would you want to? Even if this shit is dangerous, but I don't know. And Eddie again says it's Ka, and he says it was all he could think of that was big enough to cover it. And then Roland makes the Ka joke.
Oh my god.
And it's like, the three of them stared at him, mouths open. Roland of Gilead had made a joke. What the hell is happening?
I love, this is like such a bad like it's such a dad joke that the first time that he makes a joke, it being a dad joke just makes it so much better.
It's not even a joke, really.
It's barely a joke. Like, this is okay, so in Connecticut, there, the Ivy League school, Yale, you may have heard of it, is in New Haven. And it's in what's called Greater New Haven, because it's a pretty big city and there's a lot of suburbs and stuff. And my dad, with his fucking, his language barrier, like, he would make jokes that really they didn't really work, but because he didn't know English that well, it just sounded fine. So he was like, yeah, that's funny. And we'd all just be like, well. And one time I asked him at dinner to pass me the grated cheese. And he goes, is it from the Greater New Haven? Like, what do you even... I just looked at him. I was just like, what is that? What do I even... What? Just give me the fucking cheese, Dad. Like, this is... Roland made a joke my dad made. A joke that it's just like, well, the words sound kind of like... So, yeah. It's not even quite a pun. It doesn't even quite work as a pun. It's just like, well... I loved it. I really did. The three of them stared at him, mouths open. Yeah. Oh, Dad, you were bad at jokes. I miss you.
Yeah, so they have one more little conversation about his mom and Maria. He doesn't know what happened to the ball. Somebody came in. He fainted after he killed his mom, and somebody must have come in and taken it. Mm-hmm. And he thinks that it was like an agent of Rhea, basically. And at one point he says again that he saw her again. Mm-hmm. And Roland explained no further, but a stony gleam arose in his eyes. Eddie had seen it before and knew it meant killing.
Yep.
So he met her again and fucked her up.
Oh, thank God. She's the worst.
Yeah.
Oh, and Susan asks him, why did your mother hide? Did she mean to kill you? And this is when he just is like, oh, no, I think she went to ask my forgiveness, that she had a change of heart. Is that what you know or only what you want to believe, Eddie thought. And I'm like, yeah, like, she could have totally hid behind there to strangle you with a belt. Like, I don't know.
I mean, God, yeah, I guess. But, like, if she had a poisonous knife...
She's not going to use the knife on him, because then they'd know that the knife was in the house. Because apparently that's a distinctive poison, right?
Yeah, that's true.
You strangle his son because he figured out that he's onto you. And then go and knife your husband. And it's a perfect... So... she strangle him, and then all of a sudden your husband's, like, heartbroken, and you both have a reason to get back together all of a sudden. You rejoined in your grief, I'm fucked up. Sorry, guys.
No, the ball might also have warned her that Roland knew.
That's what I'm thinking. That it's sitting there, like maybe she found out that's why. I hate all this. It
said something about like her having a smile of like let's. What did it say? I'll find the line. Like the smile on her face that she died with. Mm-hmm.
See.
The four slugs drive Gabrielle Deschênes back into the corridor with the hopeful "Can we make peace?" smile still on her face.
Aww.
So that is the one thing that makes me think, like, no, this was legit. Mm-hmm. Also, because, like, what fun is it? Like, the ball wants him to live?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess.
He's a tool, man.
Yeah. Still, I really don't think she could even have, like, even if she had a belt, could she have strangled him to death?
I mean, she was almost able to sneak up on him, except for the ball throwing up the reflection.
Oh, I mean, I just meant, like, physically. But, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I think if you get the drop on somebody, it doesn't matter, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. I don't know. We'll never know. Maybe. I don't know. I have no idea if we'll ever know or not, obviously.
You douche. All right, so... Yeah. You had moved on past this at this point.
Yeah, that's an interesting question though. I had forgotten about that. I'd forgotten about the bit where Eddie was like, "Is that where you want what you want to believe?" Because I just kind of accepted that, as truth, and maybe not. Roland also explains that the cloud with the lightning bolt is the sigil of a place called Thunderclap.
Right.
And that is, where he thinks they'll meet the flag again.
This man, this thing.
Yeah.
The Kansas we came through was his Kansas, and the plague that emptied out that land was his plague. At least that's what I believe. So they're not in his Kansas anymore.
And they say it could travel to any other world.
Yeah, that's rough.
Which is, hard to deal with. And then Susanna asks who the Crimson King is. He doesn't know. And then they leave the shoes there.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming that they'll find more at some point.
I love all of God's children have shoes, Roland mused.
Yeah.
Isn't that what you said, Susanna? Well, the correct dialect adds a Susan flavor, but you've got the essence, honey. Yes.
That's good.
I love that. Let's see. Where is it? Oh, Jake was looking into his knapsack, taking inventory of the foodstuffs that had been added by some unknown hand. He held up a chicken leg in a baggie, looked at it, then looked at Eddie. Who do you suppose packed this stuff? Eddie raised his eyebrows as if to ask Jake how he could possibly be so stupid. The Keebler elves? He said. Who else? Come on, let's go. I love that idea. I like to think of it though that if it had been the elves, that it'd be like the ones from Elf with what's his face, where it would just
Will Ferrell.
Yeah, it'd just be packed with like syrup and candy corns, candy canes. It's like
the worst.
Totally inedible. Like,
the
oh,
worst elves. Like, we're helping.
Technically, it's food, but this isn't what I want at all.
What do you think? Should we just read this last section?
Sure. Go ahead.
3 paragraphs. They clustered near the grove, 5 wanderers on the face of an empty land. Ahead of them, running across the plain, was a line in the grass which exactly matched the line of rushing clouds in the sky. This line was nothing so obvious as a path, but to the awakened eye, the way that everything bent in the same direction was as clear as a painted stripe. The path of the beam. Somewhere ahead, where this beam intersected all the others, stood the dark tower. Eddie thought that if the wind were right, he would almost be able to smell its sullen stone. And roses, the dusky scent of roses. He took Susanna's hand as she sat in her chair. Susanna took Roland's. Roland took Jake's. Oy stood 2 paces before them, head up, scenting the autumn air that combed his fur with unseen fingers, his gold-ringed eyes wide. "We are quartet," Eddie said. It crossed his mind to wonder at how much he'd changed, how he had become a stranger even to himself. "We are one from many." "Quartet," Susanna said. "We are one from many." "One from many," Jake said. "Come on, let's go." Bird and bear and hare and fish, Eddie thought. With Oy in the lead, they once more set out for the dark tower, walking along the path of the beam.
The end.
That is Wizarding Glass.
Man. Yeah, I liked that one. Like, I can understand people getting frustrated with the dragging in the middle. Like, we definitely got frustrated for sure.
Yeah.
But it was still like, I feel like it would have been easier if I hadn't had to stop constantly and if I could have just barreled through those parts and gotten to the awesome gunfighting, because yes please. But yeah, I enjoyed this one. I've enjoyed them all, honestly. The first one probably the least, because it's just so gratuitously weird that it feels almost disconnected from the rest of it, you know?
Yeah, the first one's rough. And you can tell that it wasn't supposed to be like he had no idea how to continue it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that's the thing, is that it really feels like the beginning of an idea that hadn't quite formulated yet. Mm-hmm. And I know that feel, bro. Oh, I sure do.
Yeah.
So
I should probably tell you that, this book, the next book came out in, I think, 2003? Because this book came out in 1997.
And yikes.
Yeah, the next one was '03, and it was and in between was when he had his car accident.
Okay.
So it's just really interesting that this was the one where, everybody was like, "Oh shit, are we ever gonna figure out what happens with the Dark Tower?"
Man.
And because they thought he was dead, like.
I mean, yeah, that's wow. That would can you imagine George R. R. Martin getting into a fucking horrible car crash right now?
Can have and will later tonight.
People would just lose their minds.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
Oh man. Yeah, that would anxiety, man. You can still do that thing where you, have somebody else like finish it if he's got drafts or things like that, but it's never going to be the same. Like, it won't really be satisfying knowing that it's somebody else's version of their work.
I wasn't a Wheel of Time fan, so I don't know how that feels like in that sense. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I kind of would rather it not end. Maybe. I don't know how it actually feel in the moment. Like, if George Martin died tonight, God forbid. I mean, would you want the show to finish the series? Would you? I mean, they're going to first anyway.
Yeah,
obviously,
right. Like, that's kind of the thing. It's like, well, what I want doesn't matter.
That's true. But like, I don't know. I'm not sure if it would depend on the writer, I suppose, and the circumstances. Like, how many notes did he leave? Like, did the person in question, was he a friend? Did he know any part of the story? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's I think that's a big part of it too, is like if it's somebody that he had confided in and like bounced ideas off of in the past, I'll feel a lot more comfortable with it than somebody who's just like, well, he was his good friend. Like, well, what the fuck? Who cares? I don't give a shit about your friends.
Like, if who's the woman who wrote fucking Windbreakers or whatever it was with him? Oh god, this is gonna bother me. Like, if she did it, then I think it would be cool, because not only is she a an established writer, but clearly a former collaborator, and I think current collaborator as well. I'm not totally sure about that, but anyway.
Well, if we're gonna wrap this up.
Windhaven. Lisa Tuttle is her name.
Lisa Tuttle. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I want to say hi to new patrons real quick. What's up, new patrons?
Yes.
This week we have Axel Berg Larson, Dos Moonen, Melanie Linares, Evan Allen, David, Haley, Iha again, and Molly Murray. All just became patrons. Welcome, all of you. Thank you so much for pledging. You're amazing. And for those of you who are $5 and up, you will be able to enjoy immediately our Twin Peaks coverage that I'm doing with Maggie. And if you are $4 and below, you get access to like a million other shows that are already completed. And you will get access to Twin Peaks once that is completed. And yes, we are going to be covering the new season. Which has gotten some confused reviews. Most people are just like, what is the main reaction that I have seen? And yeah, I think, after Rashawn and I finish Sherlock, which we're covering right now for everybody, we're going to get started on some Harry Potter bonus stuff. So I'm excited about that too. We're going to be doing the Fantastic Beasts movie and the original movies, which we agreed she can just marathon in one day, and we'll do one podcast on them as a whole. Mm-hmm. And we're going to do something like the extra, what are they? Auxiliary books? Is that what you say? Is auxiliary? Is that the word?
Is it?
I don't know. You know what I'm saying.
Spin-offs, like,
that's the one.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's going on with that. And then I want to say an extra thank you to a bunch of people who donated so far to the GoFundMe for the trip that we are trying to organize to Wizarding World of Harry Potter. I'm super excited about this. It's going to be in November. I have already booked our room at the Cabana Bay Resort, and it was very affordable. Like, you know, I'm broke, and so if I say it's affordable, you know, it's fucking bottom of the barrel kind of prices. And because of the time of year that we're going.
Proper term is hella affordable.
Hella affordable. So the first day that we're going to be down there will be the 28th. And it's going to be basically a get-together for all the listeners and as many co-hosts as can make it. So I'm just really thrilled that this looks like it's going to come together, and people have been donating to the GoFundMe, which I pinned to the top of the Facebook page. So if you're interested in donating, that's where you can find it. And so to all of the donors so far, we have Tessa French, Rachel Vandback, Sarah Baggs, Jessica Dawn, Elizabeth Bergskaug, Megan Tolentino, Ann Thomas, Krista Contino Sambi, and Courtney Ramirez, and then just today, Lindsay Anderson. Welcome to all of you wonderful people. You're amazing. We have already reached in just a couple days $485. So I have a goal set for 2,000, but I don't have like a time limit for that. It's pretty much just going to be up until we start having to pay for expenses and stuff, which will probably only be about a month ahead of time. I just can't thank you all enough. There have been some super generous donations. There's been one that was $100, one that was $250. Like, people just have been really, really generous, and it means a ton, because without their help, Rashawn and I both are pretty tight financially, and I'm not sure that I might be able to do it because I have help from Owen. But Rashawn's husband only works limited part-time, and I'm not sure that she would be able to. And I just don't want to fucking go if Rashawn can't go. Like, come on. It would not be the same. So thank you guys so much. And I love you. And you're the best. And you're amazing forever and ever. Amen. Miles, take it away.
Amen. So, speaking of people who are the best, I have this other podcast that I do, which is called Smash Fiction, and you can find it on iTunes, and you can find it on Libsyn at smashfiction.libsyn.com and all of your podcatchers of choice. If you're not already aware of Smash Fiction, it's the show where we take fictional characters and bang them together like action figures and make them fight or do some kind of contest. We determine a definitive winner to the questions of, you know, who's a better witch, Hermione or fucking Willow.
You just like completely lost what you were saying there.
I completely lost it. I was like, what's a good example of our recent episodes, but not the most recent one, which I'm about to plug. Well,
oops.
No, actually, we've got some really good ones recently. We did a little kids imagination match between Calvin from Calvin and Hobbes and Doug from Doug. So that was a ton of fun. And our most recent one was our fan voted match. So we have a Patreon now because all our fans are amazing. And we have started to rack up some of our goals, and some of the tiers of support that we offer on Patreon allow you to vote on one of the matches that we do. So our fans got together and they voted the 4-way Disney villain match into existence. So that was just released this past Sunday. It's Hades, Jafar, Ursula, and Dr. Facilier. And it's a really, really fun match.
Which one? Who's Dr. Facilier from?
He's the villain from The Princess and the Frog.
Oh, never saw that. Okay.
Really?
I haven't seen like pretty much anything after Pocahontas.
Dude, I don't even like Disney movies, and that's a good movie.
All right. I'll check it out.
So, yeah, it's a good one. But, yeah, and the match is also quality. One of our original hosts, Colin, is back for that one and for a few others coming down the line. So, yeah, it's a really fun show. If you guys want to check it out, you can do it on Twitter at Smash Fic Podcast, or also just search for Smash Fiction Podcast on Facebook and Tumblr. And, of course, if you really like the show and you want to help us out a little bit, go to the Patreon, patreon.com/smashfictionpodcast. We've got a lot of stuff that we offer for supporters, and And yeah, that's the way to do it. And we really appreciate anyone who does, and all the people who have already. A lot of our supporters right now are Unspoiled fans too. So really appreciate, Natasha, this opportunity to kind of grow our fan base with help from your fan base. So
Whoop whoop.
thank you for that. Get me into the podcasting game, dude.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for, is to lead everybody down this path so that I can crush you later.
Should write a badass Disney villain song about that.
And I forgot this, and it's not like actually set, so I'm just sharing because I'm excited, but I'm going to be doing a book club episode, unknown at this time what the book will be, with the two gentlemen from Overdue. And
nice.
Super excited about it because they are hilarious and very intelligent. And I'm pretty much like, I can count on one hand the number of podcasts that I've listened to where I'd actually want to talk to the other hosts. Yeah. And out of that 5, 3 will never happen ever in my life. So they were one of the only people that I was like, hey, guys, hey, you don't know me. But, and they were very gracious and were like, yeah, we would totally love to be on your show. So we're figuring out now what we're going to cover together.
It's fun. Like, podcasters, it's fun when, like, you just cross over like that. We've done it a few times. We've had you on the show. Mm-hmm. And that's like one of our best episodes. So, are you going to or considering at all going to the this PodCon thing that's happening in December?
No. Did you see the fucking price of it?
Like $100.
Oh, maybe I'm thinking of a different one. Podcast Movement was the one that I was thinking of. And that is a $400 ticket.
Oh, Jesus. Fuck that shit.
I guess they sold out last year, but now they're trying to offer payment plans. And the payment plans are 10% interest rate. Like, I don't even know what the fuck they're thinking. Yeah.
I don't know. This is an Indiegogo campaign. So you pay, like, if you contribute $90 to the campaign, it doesn't cost you. You get a ticket, and it doesn't cost you $100 later. You know.
So where's it being held?
It's in Seattle.
Oh yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to make it up there for that. Me and some of the Smash Fit group.
Yeah, all of my travel money is going to Orlando.
Sure, well, that totally makes sense. But, when is this episode dropping? When is it coming out?
I will probably edit and post it on, let's see. I already edited and posted Penny Dreadful. I'll probably do this one tomorrow, actually.
Okay,
on
so this
Wednesday.
one will come out tomorrow for patrons.
Yes, patrons, and then a week later for all of the filthy casuals.
Okay, so if you're a patron, then what I'm about to plug comes out tomorrow. But if you're a filthy casual, it's already happened, so you can go check it out right now, which is actually another podcast that I am producing for actual money as a job.
Ooh.
And this is the Odyssey Storytelling Podcast, and it is a presentation of the Odyssey Storytelling Group, which is here in Tucson, Arizona, where I live. I've been working for them for a few months, and basically every evening, it happens once a month, and every evening is a specific theme. So, like, the theme might be, like, once the theme was labor, right?
Okay.
And there are a ton of interpretations of that word. But people from the Tucson community come in and they tell, like, a 10-minute story to an audience, a live audience.
Okay.
About, based on the theme. So, like, when we did labor, some people were talking about, like, working, and some people were talking about childbirth.
Right.
So it's really cool. It's just a really cool little community event that, we want to share with anyone who's interested. Just regular people telling stories. I did one once. I told the story. It was really fun. And this new podcast, the Odyssey Storytelling Podcast, is something that I'm basically fully producing in terms of audio production, and I'm the host of the show, which means that I, take it in and take it out. Basically, that's it. But I also do all the editing and do all the audio recording in the actual building, and it's kind of I'm pretty proud with what we're coming up with right now. And so again, I'm not sure when that's going to be on iTunes, but it will be available via Libsyn starting on Thursday.
Awesome. Well, that sounds really interesting. Cool. And what is it called again?
It's called the Odyssey Storytelling Podcast, and the first episode is the one that we just recorded on this past earlier this month, which Unfortunately, for those of you who don't live in Tucson, Arizona, the theme of that episode is only in Tucson. But it's still like really fun, and there's not, I recognize that a lot of this could sound super boring and just, like, a bunch of old people telling stories. I mean, there's some funny shit happening here, and like people don't hold back.
Nice.
I'll never forget the story about the woman whose whole thesis was that she had a pussy of steel. Like it's good stuff, guys. And you can actually find out more about the actual Odyssey event if you happen to be in Tucson or if you're just interested at odysseystorytelling.com.
Awesome.
I will be providing updates on that as it gets on iTunes and shit like that. So
yeah, that sounds really interesting.
Expect more plugs for that shit.
More on that as it unfolds.
Dun dun dun.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for listening. And just FYI, I know that people don't listen to the end. I'm doing it anyway, even though you're not going to listen, and then you're going to message me and you're going to ask why, and I'm going to be like, oh, I said on the show. Don't be that guy. We are going to take a 2-week hiatus because Miles is getting married. Woo!
Yeah. It really just sounds like you just like masturbated to the idea.
I know. When I was doing that, I was like, this is not appropriate. Let me stop this. But yeah, so Miles is going to be getting married, and then he's going to be going on a trip. So he won't be here for a couple weeks.
Fortunately, I was just looking at over Wolves of the Kala, which is, I always say that word weird because I don't know how to pronounce it. Wolves of the Kala, or Kala.
Let's just call it Kala.
All right, Wolves of the Kala. It sounds so
you fucking hate it. You hate it. I hear it in your voice.
All right. So we're starting Wolves of the Kala when we come back from my 2-week hiatus. There's the prologue and then there's chapter 1. The prologue is long, but it's also a prologue. And I kind of feel like, given that we got 2 weeks to read this, I mean, you have 2 weeks to read this, I have 2 weeks to go over it again. Mm-hmm. You want to just and the first chapter is pretty short, so like we could just do the prologue and the first chapter next time.
Okay, that works for me.
And then we can go. I think with this one, it's pretty safe to go to chapter by chapter basis.
That works for me.
All right.
So prologue and first chapter in 2 weeks.
Prologue and first chapter. The prologue is called Runt.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah.
It works well too because Owen and I have a hard time sometimes finding time to record our show because of his ridiculous schedule. So for a couple weeks, we'll have a night that we can do it on.
You will, yeah. I will stop monopolizing your Tuesdays. I think I'm technically not getting married until next Thursday, but I feel like if I did the podcast the Tuesday before that,
no, like
my wife to be would kill me.
As somebody who has gotten married, you will be consumed with chores and errands. There is no way. So yeah,
ain't no will be about that at this point.
Yeah, it's enlist everybody that you can. That's the only advice I ever have for things like this: is get help.
Smash Fiction fans, I'm gonna be gone from that one for a couple weeks too, so be advised.
All right. Well, again, everyone, thank you for listening, and we will see you in 2 weeks with a prologue and a new chapter. Toodaloo, motherfuckers.
That was an Unspoiled Network podcast.